What's up, Hunters? So today we're going to be comparing 3 different animatronics to find out which one is better. These 3 animatronics, of course, are Mr. Dark, Hellspawn, and Towering Tallulah. These 3 animatronics feature the same mechanism and are all basically just reskins of each other. We'll be comparing these animatronics in multiple different categories like design, price, audio, theme, and much more. So let's get started. So what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. To start off the video, I think it's probably a good idea to start off just by talking about what each of these animatronics are. So basically, each version of this animatronic features a scissor lift mechanism, which is this newer theme that Techie came out with a few years ago, which is basically this awesome mech which is able to shoot up these animatronics really fast. And with this mech, they're also able to go from 4.9 feet all the way up to almost 9 feet tall, which is really crazy. And the reason why these animatronics sell so well and why they keep making so many new versions is simply just because they're kind of like professional animatronics, but they can sell them for a more reasonable price for people doing home haunts. So with just how popular the scissor mech is, Spirit has made 3 different versions of this animatronic. The first one, of course, from 2021 is known as Mr. Dark and is supposed to be this Reaper themed guy. Then, of course, from 2023 we have Hellspawn, who's supposed to be this devil. And then from this year we have Towering Tallulah, or Towering Tallulah, however you say her name. And she, of course, is supposed to be this witch-themed one. And with there being 3 of these now and everyone having different opinions on which one is better, I decided to compare these in a whole bunch of different categories to find out which one is actually the best, just based on different factors. So, of course, with the intro out of the way, let's start comparing these animatronics. And the first category is, of course, audio. So let's take a listen to each of these animatronics' different audios.
Who do we have here? Your curiosity and trespassing has cost you your mortality.
So there, of course, are the 3 different audio tracks for these animatronics, and honestly, I'm gonna have to say the worst audio track is Mr. Dark's. Even though I love him, I just feel like his audio is the least fit-in for the animatronic. Like, I guess it does work a tiny bit for him, but just what he says and everything just seems a bit weird, and just overall the audio, I feel like they could have chose a different one for him. Then, of course, in second place, we've got Hellspawn. I love his audio. It has this devilish voice, which works so well for him, and then his audio line and everything that he says is also really awesome and really fits the animatronic. But then first place, I'm gonna have to say Towering Tallulah takes this one. Her audio just fits the witch theme so well. It just sounds like a witch. She has quite a bit of audio compared to these 2, which is awesome, and overall, she's just gonna take the win for this category. And the next category here is a simple one, but a really important one because it's kind of the value you're getting out of the animatronic. This category, of course, is pricing. So take a look at the prices for these animatronics. Let's, of course, start with Towering Tallulah, which this animatronic here, of course, has a price tag of $330, which is alright. It's pretty big animatronics, so for this price, not too bad. Then, of course, we got Hellspawn, which also shares the same price at $330. But then, at the end here, we got Mr. Dark, which this guy, by far, is going to take the win for best pricing. Because Mr. Dark here, back in 2021, the first year is sold, he was only sold for $250, which is such an amazing deal. That's $80 cheaper than the price you're paying today for the 2 newer ones. And then, of course, his price was actually put up to $280 for 2022, but still, that's $50 cheaper than the other 2 animatronics. So for this category, Mr. Dark is going to take the win. And the next category is Originality, which this category basically just means, is the animatronic a new design, or does it copy something that another company or animatronic has done in the past? So honestly, I'm going to have to say all these animatronics are pretty generic and not too different from stuff we've seen before, but Coming in last for this category is, of course, Hellspawn. Just comparing him to other animatronics, I think he is the least original because any other devil animatronic out there pretty much looks like him. Every single one out there has that red clothing, as the face with the horns and everything. He pretty much just looks like any other devil animatronic that we've ever gotten. Then next up in second place is going to be Towering Tallulah. This one actually takes the witch design a little bit different from some other witches, but it still does copy a bit of those swamp hag witches that we've gone in the past. Still a bit different and a bit more original than them, but still it's not the most original. But then in first place, the most original out of these ones is definitely Mr. Dark. Now, he is just a simple Reaper, but just that head design and the way they made him and everything, it just seems and feels a bit different from other Reaper designs in the past. So for that, he's going to be the most original and is going to take the win again for this category. And the next category here is detail, which this category basically just means how detailed is the animatronic. So let's take a look. So in last place for this category, I'm going to have to put Mr. Dark and Hellspawn. They both have a similar amount of detail to them. The really only details in the hands and the head, which they both have a very similar design, and the sculpt is nice and everything, but it's just not too much detail. The rest of the animatronic is just this simple black or red clothing, which looks alright, but it would have been so much better if they had more details, so that's why these two are going to be in last. But then coming in on top in this category is going to be Towering Tallulah. This animatronic, it just has so much more detail. The face design is a little bit similar, but I feel like it definitely has more detail with the hair on there and just the way they did the face. And then overall, the clothing on this definitely has a lot more detail to it. It has that nice green creepy cloth just all over this thing, which really adds more to it rather than just the plain clothing that Mr. Dark and Hellspawn have. So overall, this animatronic is going to be taking the cake on this one as well. And now moving on to the fifth and final category, we've got theme, which this category just means which animatronic fit better into the theme that it was in the years introduced to Spirit Halloween. So let's take a look at each of these. So coming in last place for this category is Towering Tallulah. This animatronic just does not fit into the theme this year at all, which of course is the carnival theme. It just looks so out of place, and I don't know why they wouldn't have just made a separate theme for this or kept it in box only. So overall, this one definitely the worst for this category. And in second place for this category, we've got Mr. Dark, who first appeared in the Halloween Factory assembly line in 2021, which this theme, I've just got to say, I don't think any of the animatronics really fit into it. It's such a weird theme, and Mr. Dark definitely felt a little out of place in this. And then he also did make a reappearance in the next year, 2022, in the Halloween Laboratory theme, which this definitely made a bit more sense to have him in. I think this is more of a valid ISE for him, but still put him in second place because the second year doesn't count because the two other animatronics never appeared in a second ISE yet. So for that reason, Mr. Dark, you're in second place. And finally, coming in at number one for the last category, we've got Hellspawn, which this guy, he definitely fit the most into the theme that he was in, which of course was the graveyard from last year. Like, you know, devils and graveyards, they just go together so well. So for this guy to have been in that theme, he fit very well, and that's why he's taking the win for this category. And with all said, everyone, that is the 5 different categories we'll be looking at, and now it's time to figure out which one came out on top. Of course, in last place, we've got Hellspawn with 8 points. He's a cool animatronic and all, but just compared to the others, didn't rank as good. And then, of course, in first place, we actually have a tie between Mr. Dark and Towering Tallulah, which was really unexpected. They both came out with 10 points each. And I might have to give an extra point to Mr. Dark just because he was the first one out there. Not fully sure if I should or not, but tell me down below, what do you think? Should Mr. Dark take the win, or should Towering Tallulah? Tell me down below your thoughts on which one is better in your opinion. And overall, that's it for today. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.